Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Companies to watch.
All right, welcome to Companies to Watch. It is Friday. I am feeling good, and I am accompanied by Senor Dan Ko.
Hey, good Friday morning, Emaad.
Good morning, sir.
Good to see you in the hot seat today. Good change after speaking to Mr. Ryan Huang for the past 1 week. But yes, it seems like you're here with me on Companies to Watch. That's a segment where we spotlight and stock you up with ideas of listed companies that will call for your attention. So we're looking at market trends to risks, as well as hidden gems or warning signs to steer clear of. 8855-0893. Text us and tell us whether you think it's going to be a hot or not. All right, Emaad. Can you imagine, or do you know what I'm trying to think?
Hold on, let me tap into my crystal ball here. I'm
What am I
thinking two things, one of two things. You want to go home and sleep, or you want to take your bike for a spin around Malaysia?
Absolutely right. Now I'm wondering, are you part of the test trial by Neuralink?
I might very well be, Dan.
Yeah. Okay, that's a company that we're turning to today. Neuralink, a neurotechnology company developing implantable brain-computer interfaces. Now, the company's goal is to create a generalized BCI, brain-computer interfaces for short, to restore autonomy to those with unmet medical needs and unlock human potential, like telepathy.
Incredible stuff.
So their primary device, the Link, is a coin-sized, fully implantable device that uses thin, flexible threads with electrodes to record and stimulate brain activity. How do you think about messing your head with a little, device, electrical device in your head?
Yeah, firstly, I find it pretty crazy that a tiny, almost invisible chip is generating so much attention.
Right.
But the idea of users like you and me and Ryan Huang controlling external devices through your thoughts with the help of these chips is pretty mind-blowing.
That is
Both
wild.
literally and figuratively.
Exactly. All right, so let's dive into the details of this story and why I've decided to bring this company to our attention today, because just recently, Elon Musk's brain implant company expects to put its chips in 20,000 people a year by 2031. Now, that's generating at least $1 billion in annual revenue. That's a major ramp up of its work to treat disease and, of course, gain unprecedented access to the human mind. Now, in a presentation shown to investors, we've got the company saying that within just 6 years, they plan to have about 5 large clinics in operation with at least 3 versions of its device available. So marketable by then and, of course, commercially available for people who might be suffering from autonomy. Now, one version is called telepathy. It's enabling communication between the brain and machines. Another called blind sight. This is quite inspiring. It's aimed at giving vision to blind people. And we've got a third as well, also known as Deep, which would treat tremors and Parkinson's disease. So the financial projections, as well as the company's work in patients with tremors and Parkinson's, have not yet been previously publicly reported. So this is a new space that they're venturing into. And the company's stated goals does show the enormous scale of Musk's vision for Neuralink and the ambitious timeline on which he seeks to operate. First thoughts, are we into the future?
Absolutely. And I think the solid investment backing is indicative of how such a broad-based group of investors see long-term transformative potential in this company and the products that it's putting out. You don't just have individual investors and corporate investors, but you have sovereign wealth funds like the Qatar Investment Authority.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly so. And if we look forward, at least for them, we've got, Neuralink predicting that by 2029, they would get regulatory approval in the US for its telepathy device and it hopes to perform 2,000 surgeries a year. We're looking at a 4 years timeline and generating at least $100 million in annual revenue. By 2030, Neuralink sees the launch of its sight-restoring chip Blind Sight, expanding to 10,000 surgeries a year and bringing in over $500 million. The figure assumes a conservative reimbursement of about $50,000 per surgery. So that's according to the documents that was shown by them. So let's talk a little bit more about the company Neuralink and what you need to know about them. It was founded back in 2016, had raised about $1.3 billion from investors, and today valued at roughly $9 billion. Now, Musk has hit a number of milestones with this company, but let's not forget that he's known for overstating how quickly he will be able to reach technological advancements. I mean, he did say Tesla cars would be able to drive themselves in 3 years from 2015, but look at where we're at. We're only finally launching robotaxis for testing last month. So just recently, we've also got the company Neuralink Emaad receiving from the US Food and Drug Administration's breakthrough tag for its speech restoration device in May. It also raised $650 million in its latest funding round last month as its brain implant enters clinical trials, and it had actually begun back in 2024 after resolving safety concerns that's flagged by the FDA, which had initially rejected because of safety concerns. But as of today, we're seeing how, many patients with severe paralysis currently using its device to control digital and physical tools with their thoughts alone. And it does show how Neuralink's latest venture have attracted significant attention and investment in recent years for potential medical applications. So that being said, would you want to put yourself up for this clinical trial?
I don't quite know. And the reason is because the brain implant requires open brain surgery.
Yes.
Specifically a craniotomy, which is, I think, what a lot of stroke patients have to undergo if they lose cognitive function in the brain to insert the device. So it involves removing a piece of the skull to access the brain. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with that. That being said, I've read about the competition that exists out there. There's an Australian-American company known as Synchron. They're also developing a less invasive BCI that can be implanted via the jugular vein, eliminating the need for open brain surgery. And this company, by the way, is only valued at $385 million, which is far off Neuralink's $9 billion.
Exactly.
But they are backed by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates.
Oh, yes. I've seen that article that you read, and it's certainly quite an interesting space. We're seeing a very competitive space. We've got lots of these players trying to reinvent, when it comes to brain implants, and hopefully, you see who can commercialize their products first. But thanks for mentioning that. It's a good competition to look out for. But yes, at the end of this, these companies hope to be able to not just help people with, paralysis try to live life normally again, but of course, try to allow us, people like us, for greater convenience, like perhaps in future we might be able to play games with our head.
Yes.
See what I did there?
Yes.
And of course, perhaps even do some work or some autonomy. Like, let's say, for example, you don't really have to use your hands to type anymore. I mean, that might make us a little bit lazier, but of course, this might help to stimulate and read data from the brain and hopefully potentially change the way we work and function in a workplace.
Yep, and is also interacting with virtual environments, which sounds pretty cool.
That's right. So lots in store for this space here, but in case you're looking to invest in Neuralink, unfortunately, they're privately held, so the stock isn't exactly accessible to the average person, but it doesn't mean you can't get exposure to this future-looking medical research firm. In fact, investing in publicly traded companies that invested in Neuralink can provide an indirect stake. So we're looking at firms such as Google Ventures, which are known to be subsidiaries of publicly traded companies, and of course, their venture into Neuralink. Now, by investing into Alphabet, you can get an indirect benefit from its investment in Neuralink. Coinbase is another company that offers indirect exposure to Neuralink's growth. The enterprise is owned by Ursa, I believe I pronounced that correctly, whose venture capital fund Paradigm has invested in Neuralink. Another way, of course, is to invest in ETFs, that's exchange-traded funds, that's related to BCI technology. Now, there aren't exactly any ETF that exclusively focuses on BCIs, but there are funds that offer exposure to related themes. So we've got the iShares Healthcare Innovation ETF that consists of companies that develop new and innovative healthcare technologies. So these are some of the options if you're looking to expand or diversify your portfolio. And having considered, the factors that we think of for brain implants and potentially a healthy, competitive landscape, I'm going to give it a hot.
Ooh, a hot call from Dan Coe.
What about you?
I am not going to go with a hot or a not. I'll tell you why. I think the tech is a potential game changer for the human race.
Yep.
But they haven't secured U.S. approval for permanent human use. Regulatory hurdles can be difficult to cross. On top of that, invasive procedures like implants have safety and ethical concerns.
Of course.
And potentially cybersecurity risks if you misuse neural data. So I'm going to go with a hold.
A hold. Oh, interesting one today. All right, thanks for that, Emaad. And that pretty much wraps it out for our analysis of today's Stock in Focus, Neuralink. Now, Emaad, here's some fun facts about Neuralink. Did you know that the implants are conducted by robots? Neuralink developed a neural surgical robot that can insert a flexible threads with micron precision, avoiding blood vessels.
Wow.
It's designed to help increase the speed of the surgery and more safely than human needs. All right, so they've also, famously demoed a pig named Gertrude in 2020, whose brain activity was shown live on screen. Another monkey named Pager played Pong, just using his mind back in 2021 as well, thanks to the link. So why shouldn't you date a neurologist?
Because they have brain damage?
No, because they keep messing with your head.
Oh, okay. Wait, I got one.
Okay.
Why did the brain refuse to take a bath?
Because, I know this one. They don't want to be brainwashed.
Yes. Because you know that, I have another one.
Okay.
What did the doctor say to the man who had an elephant sitting on his brain?
You have too much weight on your mind.
Dan, one more. You're not going to get this one. What continues to work even after it is fired?
I don't know, the brain?
A neuron.
Okay, that's a good one. And that's all we have for Neuralink.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.